Ethan lived on the east side of town. His family attended the local church. Every Sunday they would walk together, hand in hand, to the small white building that stood as a beacon of their faith. The church was more than just a place of worship. It was the heart of their community. It was where Ethan learned about life, love, and the values that would shape his future. The stained glass windows, the wooden pews, and the familiar faces all contributed to a sense of belonging that Ethan cherished deeply. He sang in the choir. Life was simple, faith was strong. Every note he sang was a testament to his upbringing, a melody that resonated with the teachings he had absorbed over the years. The choir was not just a group of singers, it was a family. They practiced together, laughed together, and supported each other through thick and thin. The music they created was a reflection of their unity and shared beliefs.
Sophia lived across the tracks. Her family followed a different faith. They attended a synagogue that stood proudly on the west side of town. The synagogue was a place of learning and community, where Sophia felt a deep connection to her heritage. The rituals, the prayers, and the stories passed down through generations were all part of the rich tapestry of her life. Sophia's family celebrated their traditions with fervor and joy, each festival a reminder of their history and identity. Their traditions were rich, their community close-knit. Music filled her home. The sounds of laughter, the clinking of glasses, and the melodies of traditional songs created an atmosphere of warmth and togetherness. Sophia's family gatherings were a celebration of life, love, and the bonds that held them together. Each event was an opportunity to reconnect with loved ones and to pass on the values and stories that defined their identity.
They lived in the same town, but their worlds felt miles apart. The railway line was more than just a physical barrier. It was a symbol of the divide that existed between their communities. Despite the proximity, there was a sense of distance that was palpable. The east and west sides of town had their own rhythms, their own ways of life, and their own stories. The railway line was a reminder of the differences that separated them, but also of the potential for connection. Unseen walls separated them, built on generations of misunderstanding. These walls were not made of bricks and mortar, but of preconceived notions and stereotypes. They were reinforced by years of isolation and lack of communication. The people on either side of the tracks had their own perceptions of each other, often based on hearsay and assumptions rather than personal experience. These unseen walls were formidable but not insurmountable. They had never spoken, they had never even met, until one day. It was a day like any other, but it would change everything. Ethan and Sophia found themselves at the railway crossing, their paths converging for the first time. As they waited for the train to pass, their eyes met, and in that moment the walls began to crumble. It was the beginning of a journey that would bridge the gap between their worlds, a journey of understanding, friendship, and perhaps something more. The town library was Ethan's sanctuary. It was a place where he could escape the chaos of the world and immerse himself in the tranquility of books. Every corner of the library held a story, and every story offered a new adventure. Ethan found solace in the musty scent of old pages and the soft rustle of paper as he turned each page. The library was more than just a building, it was a haven for his soul. He loved the smell of old books, the quiet hum of knowledge. The library was a symphony of silence, where the only sounds were the whispers of pages turning and the occasional soft footsteps of fellow book lovers. Ethan would often lose track of time, spending hours lost in the worlds created by his favourite authors. The library was his refuge, a place where he could be himself without any pretenses. One rainy afternoon, he saw her. The rain was pouring outside, creating a soothing rhythm against the windows. Ethan was sitting by the window, lost in a book, when he noticed a girl standing outside, her umbrella barely shielding her from the downpour. She seemed to be looking for something, her eyes scanning the shelves of the outdoor bookstand. Intrigued, Ethan watched as she finally found what she was looking for and stepped inside the library, shaking off the rain.
Sophia was browsing the poetry section. She had always been drawn to the beauty of words and the emotions they could evoke. The poetry section was her favorite part of the library, a place where she could lose herself in the verses of her favorite poets. As she ran her fingers along the spines of the books, she felt a sense of peace wash over her. The library was her sanctuary too, a place where she could escape the pressures of the outside world. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity, her fingers tracing the spines of the books. Each book held a promise of a new adventure, a new emotion to explore. Sophia loved the feeling of anticipation as she selected a book, wondering what secrets it held within its pages. The library was a treasure trove of stories, and she was a treasure hunter, always on the lookout for her next great find.
Their eyes met. Time seemed to stop. In that brief moment, the world outside the library ceased to exist. It was just Ethan and Sophia, two souls connected by their love for books and the sanctuary they found in the library. Ethan felt a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had known Sophia all his life. It was a feeling he couldn't explain, but it was undeniable.
A shy smile touched Sophia's lips. She had noticed Ethan too, and there was something about him that intrigued her. His quiet demeanor, the way he seemed so at ease in the library, it all drew her in. She felt a connection, a spark that she couldn't ignore. As she smiled at him, she hoped that he felt it too.
Ethan felt a warmth spread through him, a connection he couldn't explain. It was as if the library itself had brought them together, two kindred spirits finding each other in a sea of books. He wanted to talk to her, to get to know her, but he was hesitant. What if she didn't feel the same way? What if their worlds were too different? He wanted to talk to her, but the weight of their different worlds held him back. Ethan was just a boy who loved books, and Sophia seemed like someone from a different world, a world he wasn't sure he could be a part of. But as he stood there watching her, he couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, the library had brought them together for a reason. And maybe, just maybe, he would find the courage to talk to her. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Ethan couldn't shake off the memory of Sophia's eyes. They haunted him, a constant reminder of a connection that felt both forbidden and inevitable. He found himself drawn back to the library, hoping for another glimpse of her. The library had become a sanctuary, a place where he could feel close to her even in her absence. One day their paths crossed again. It was as if fate had intervened, bringing them together once more in the most unexpected of places.
This time, Ethan gathered his courage. He took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest, and walked towards her with a determination he hadn't felt before. He spoke to her, his voice trembling slightly. "Hi, Sophia," he said, his words barely audible over the sound of his racing heart. She turned to him, her eyes widening in surprise.
They talked about books, about dreams, about life. Their conversations flowed effortlessly, as if they had known each other for years. They shared their hopes and fears, their joys and sorrows.
Their friendship blossomed in secret. They met in secluded corners of the park, away from prying eyes. They found solace in each other's company, a refuge from the world that sought to keep them apart. They met at the park, by the river, anywhere they could steal, a moment away from judging eyes. Their secret meetings became the highlight of their days, a brief escape from the constraints of their lives. Their love for music became a shared passion, a secret language that transcended their differences. They would sit by the river, playing guitar and singing softly, their melodies weaving a tapestry of unspoken emotions. Laughter and quiet moments became their sanctuary. They found joy in the simplest of things, a stolen glance, a shared smile, a whispered word. Hand in hand, they walked through the park, their hearts beating in unison. They knew their time together was limited, but they cherished every second, every heartbeat. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the park, they sat by the river, lost in each other's presence. The world around them faded away, leaving only the two of them in a moment of perfect harmony. In that moment, they knew their friendship had blossomed into something more. It was a forbidden love, but it was theirs, and they would hold on to it for as long as they could. As they walked away hand in hand, disappearing into the distance, they knew their journey was just beginning. They would face challenges and obstacles, but they would face them together, united by their forbidden friendship.
Their feelings deepened with every stolen glance, every shared laugh. Ethan found solace in Sophia's spirit, her kindness and warmth.
Sophia saw the goodness in Ethan's heart, his unwavering faith.
Their secret couldn't stay hidden forever. One evening, as they walked hand in hand, they were seen. Word spread like wildfire. Disapproval echoed through both communities.
Ethan's parents pleaded with him to end the relationship.
Sophia faced similar pressure from her community.
The weight of their family's expectations threatened to tear them apart.